Hey y'all, Laura here with Cox Homestead, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you what happened in our Rabbitry September 2025. Well, it wasn't anything too big, crazy, scary, exciting, but I've been doing monthly updates and we have approached October the 7th. That means 1 week into October, and I have yet to give you an update on what happened in September. Things got crazy, babies started being born, and I got behind updating you on what's happening. But if you're here to learn about raising rabbits, it will be helpful for you to have an insight of what's happening in my Rabbitry. We had our first litters of rabbits born in September. We had 2 palominos born, whoop-dee, 2. But that is exciting news because we finally have purebred palominos started. They're both does. I'll probably be keeping them to try and get even more palominos going. The unfortunate part is they'll have to be bred back to their dad, or I have one other buck, Duncan. He's never had a baby in his life. Maybe he'll decide to shine for these girls. Then we had a mix of California and New Zealand's. She started out with 8, ended up with 4. Very disappointing. She was taking a rest pad and putting it on top of her babies. I've never done this before. In fact, historically, she's been a very successful mama for me. I'm not sure why she's taken a turn to do silly things. The next litter we had was polyface rabbits, and those were with Dottie, one of my original polyface rabbits, and Paul, one of her sons that I have kept to keep the lines going. And then we had a litter, hold on, let me think. Oh, we had a New Zealand Red have a litter of rabbits. But unfortunately, I had to cull the mom because she was having what I think was a broken hip. She was having some hip problems, and she had the babies all over the place, and she wasn't caring for them, and I didn't have any born around that same time to foster them out. We got a new cat that may appear in this video. I've opened the garage door to get some better lighting, and we're trying to get him used to going outside, so I'll be checking on him multiple times throughout this. So this mom lost all of her babies. We had no one to foster them to, so I ended up culling her. She was one of my offsprings from my original New Zealand Red, so it was a very hard decision to make, but not to worry. I have a related male from my original New Zealand Red from a few generations, not generations, but a few, I don't even know what you call it, litters ago. So it might be one of her brothers from a long time ago. Anyways, I had sold some to a friend, and she had offsprings, and I got one of them back. So I'm excited to have some of my original New Zealand Red lines here because they were beautiful and amazing. And now I have some new New Zealand Red lines from two different places in Indiana. So I still have my New Zealand Reds going, although I had to cull off that New Zealand Red mama. So I had the litter of 2, and I had the litter that went down to 4, and I really thought about combining them. And then it got to the point where it was like, well, I can't really rebreed them yet anyways because we have travels coming and I don't want babies born when I'm traveling. So I ended up just letting both of those moms raise their babies. And now there's 2 weeks left until it's time for them to wean. So it's just going to be what it is on those guys. Had I been in a more of a crunching situation where I could have rebred them both back easily, I probably would have fostered one of them out, but given the fact that we'll be traveling to the Pioneer Festival in Florida in November, I didn't want any fresh babies or nest boxes needing to go in while I was traveling. So I let the mom raise her 2, let the Palomino mom raise her 2, and the New Zealand mom raise her 4, and they are healthy rabbits, if you know what I mean. They're chunkalunkas. So they're doing just fine. And it was warm enough outside that I wasn't worried about those 2 kits staying warm enough without a whole litter of rabbits. We visited the Tennessee Valley Fair this month, and one of my 4-H students from our fair, one of my 4-H students from Sevier County took his rabbit down to the Tennessee Valley Fair and did their showmanship show, and he placed first place. I was super proud of him. So that was a lot of fun, and we got to connect with some other breeders in the area and put our eyes on other rabbits. It's always good to see what's showing up at these shows and how your rabbits at home can compare to them. Something that happened in September that we have never done before is process rabbits. We had 12 rabbits that we processed in September, the end of September at that, which has really extended our growing season this year. I bred into the end of May, so I had kits into the end of June, which was a stretch for us. Normally I quit by the end of April, but this year we had a little bit cooler spring, and I thought, I think I still have enough sperm counts to make this happen. So I did it, and we extended our meat season by a month. Normally I'm done processing in August or even mid-August. So I think I even extended it by about 6 weeks, which was really exciting and an advancement for our rabbitry, in hopes that we'll get to do that again. It's all according to the weather and how I feel my does and bucks can handle it. Now we only have a gap of no processing for the months of October and November. We can probably have some ready to process by the December, if not the end of December, maybe January. But typically I think I'm gonna have some. Typically I process the end of December, 1st of January, but I got to start breeding even earlier this year because we had a cool August, and so I think I'll have some ready around the 1st of December, which is really exciting. It kind of gets me processing in the chaos of Christmas, which I don't like, but it extends my season, which is huge news. So I'm basically just going to have 2 months of no processing, which I have never had before. But I'm going to have another little gap in my processing because of travel. Because like I mentioned, I'm going to this event in Florida, and so I have not bred any rabbits to be born. So basically I stopped breeding mid-September because I didn't want any due while I was gone traveling. I don't want my farm helper having to go in and remove expired kits and clean out nest boxes and stuff like that. Because those first 2 weeks, you've got to stay on those nest boxes and you've got to be involved, and I don't want a farm helper having to do that. I don't mind it if they're 2 to 3 weeks old and hopping out of the box and eating and drinking and those kind of things are beginning on their own. I just don't want that nest box situation happening when we're gone for a week. If it was a few days, no big deal. But I don't want my farm helper having to get in there and check on those nest boxes. But that's the beauty of raising rabbits. You can plan your breeding around when you're gone. And so that's exactly what I did for this fall. And we'll have another gap because of it, but it'll only be about a 6-week gap, so won't be terrible. And then we'll be able to breed as I'll be breeding again October 15th is when I'll start my breeding up, because that will put them all to get a nest box after I return from the Pioneer Festival in Florida. I did breed some rabbits the beginning of September until I reached that point where it was like, this is too close to travel. So I got that done. And then I continued to battle all the cobwebs and fur. It is just what happens this time of year. But I will say it has stayed summer-like in September. August was cool. September was summer-like. There was some days and periods where I couldn't breed in September because it was too hot anyways. And now we're rolling into October and it's still warm. I think we have colder weather coming soon. But anyways, enough of my rambling. I hope you enjoyed this little behind-the-scenes happening of what's going on in my rabbitry for the month of September. May it inspire you to breed some rabbits, provide for your family, and eat more rabbit! Really love to rehome Duncan as a pet for somebody. He's never had babies, never gotten anyone pregnant. I just think he's struggles in that department, but he is by far the happiest bunny in my barn and so friendly, hence why he is still here. So if you know anyone that wants a really big Palomino with lots of personality, let me know. Duncan would love to come be your poop maker and pal. Get it? But he wants to out. He says, Mom, let me run and play. I need to go to a new home. He's beautiful. He's probably one of my favorite looking rabbits besides my French Lop. I love his big head. I know.